there's that kind of thing that clicks when you're younger, when you're performing for people and you get the reaction of what it's like to play music live for people. And so that kind of hit me at a young age and stuck with me ever since. My name is Brad Myers. I'm an adjunct professor at CCM, which is University of Cincinnati's College Conservatory of Music. I'm also a private teacher. I'm also a professional musician, doing many, many different things in and around the Cincinnati area. I came to music at a pretty young age. I started playing piano when I was 6, and then picked up the guitar when I was 10, and then I kind of never looked back from there. So aside from taking lessons and kind of learning on my own, I went to University of Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music, and I really loved the Cincinnati area. I pretty much instantly fell in love with it and all of the rich musical history that goes with it. And I loved the diversity of the scene. So once I graduated, I actually stuck around here and just worked professionally for about 15 years. And then actually went back to CCM to get my master's degree there. And then I actually had the great fortune, within a couple years of getting that degree, my teacher there, Jim Smith, he retired from there, and then I took over for my mentor, which was a huge honor to be able to continue that program. Why music? The easiest answer is that it is something that is truly universal. Regardless of what language people speak, they always can kind of listen to and react to and connect and bond through music. That is something that illustrates the fact that we're actually not really separate from each other, but we're all actually connected with each other. And I think that being able to spend my life playing and teaching people and showing them that kind of connection is actually a real honor. And it's something I take both really seriously, but it's also a tremendous amount of fun. So I guess if there's something I could say that I love about jazz in particular, it's that the more you learn about it, the more you see that there's much more to learn. You're kind of never done being a student. It's a really deep thing to realize that you can kind of spend your life, being a student of really a tradition, a culture, a history that goes with this thing that's probably about the most quintessential American art form that there is. So if I had some tips I would share for people, I guess the number one thing would be to really learn how to listen. It's really important not only to be able to listen to your teachers or listen to who's trying to give you some information, but to learn to listen to the music, whether that's recordings of music or learning to listen to the band that you're playing with. You really got to learn how to listen to the drummer. That's one of the most important things. But the communication that happens when people are playing music together can't happen if everybody has blinders on. And so there's actually this sort of mystical musical telepathy that happens. The phrase big ears is kind of a thing that gets thrown around among jazz musicians. So I think the idea of learning to really listen with big ears and an open heart is really important. And I like to draw a parallel actually between improvisational music and jazz and improvisational comedy. And one of the first rules of improv comedy is always say yes and, right? So if somebody comes at you with a scenario, you go with it, and you make something work out of that. And that's really what happens with music. We say yes and we kind of take it to the next place. And if you're not listening, there's no way that you can hear what just happened, let alone be able to contribute to it and make it better. And then the other thing that comes from listening is then, of course, learning to improvise, learning to work with the framework that you have, some kind of structure, a song form, a chord progression, a melody, and we're trying to create something new and improve upon it or embellish it or just make it different for people. And I think that skill of being able to kind of like work within the confines of what you're given to try to create art within that and really try to connect with people is a really good thing. When you come up learning music in a way that you're learning it from what's written on the page, oftentimes it's very nerve-wracking to be asked to just make something up and to be creative on the spot, given some information that might be on the page, but it's not explicit. What you're playing is not written down in front of you. The main thing is to have confidence to do it, to just try it and give it a shot. But it's also mostly what makes something right or wrong is sort of what you do after what you play. So it's like we always say there aren't really any wrong notes in jazz. It's more about what you do after you play the quote-unquote wrong note. It's like how you fix what you might have done, right? So obviously, learning, what there's an A major chord happening here. What notes are in that A major chord? What's the scale that goes with it? Learning those things are helpful. A lot of what we learn works in this music over time is through a result of trial and error. This is one of the best times to be alive making music and being creative. And learning about how the business works, the business end of music works, is a really smart thing because it gives you the knowledge and the tools to then take your artistry, your creativity, whatever it is that you want to do. It's mainly about articulating those goals and tracking a path to kind of move towards that.